8th October 2020. How's it going, guys? We're going to do a walk in the park. Another good day today. We actually did a video yesterday, but it had an electronic malfunction. So we won't go there with that. So, but anyway, we're up and moving today. The day before yesterday, actually, I was doing some maintenance on the car, doing an oil change, getting ready for inspection. There was a CV joint, had a crack in it. So today, that's why we're later today, I put the CV joint on. The boot, the split boot. Nothing wrong with the joint itself. You can always tell if you're driving, you turn, you'll make a popping sound. It's not popping. It just weathered and cracked. So I thought I'd better go ahead and replace that one. But the thing of it is, they say it takes 30 minutes. Let's allow a little bit more time than that. It might take 30 minutes if you've done it 10 times. But it took about an hour and 15 minutes just to get everything taken off and cleaned up correctly. Do it correctly, that's the way you have to do it. So, you have to cut the bands off to go around the boot. Come up a little bit closer because I know that picks the audio up really good sometimes. You have to cut the bands off. That was a little tricky in itself. I got snips, I got metal cutters, I got all the equipment. Thing of it is, and it was on an inner CV joint on the inside one. A little bit hard to get up into. And I was trying to make sure I followed all the instructions right. So if anybody was just had no knowledge at all of any mechanical ability at all, it would take a while. We got done, it took about 2.5 hours to do it correctly. Now the glue that you glue it with, it's about right, it takes about I let it set up for about 5 minutes. They said allow 2 minutes, but it starts to cure within about 5 seconds. Basically it's just like super glue. Like Loctite, I think 401 or 401, I think. So I was going to do a video on that, but it would have took longer. So I thought, probably better not do that. You also have to cut the boot down too. It has like different steps on it depending on the shaft diameter. The bigger shaft diameter, then you cut more of the tip end of it off. You have two steps on the back side that goes to the kind of like the drum mount part of it. There's 2 steps on that. There's a big part, and then there's one more step down. If you have a smaller one, you have to use a smaller step, but you don't want to cut that tab or anything off because you use that to kind of pull that on over. So we were just trying to follow everything it says, so we got it done though. It's not like trying to put a whole suspension system underneath a Ford. I did that too. That's a little bit different. And that suspension, that stuff rusts on those Fords, and they're just like, it must be like it was welded on. Some of those you have to cut off. Definitely going to need a hacksaw, a sawzall.
A laser beam.
Yeah, and a laser beam. Yeah, that's about right. Yeah, I mean, even air tools wouldn't help that much on that because you have to cut some of that stuff. We use a cutting force, I guess. Some more stuff. What everybody think about the debate last night? It wasn't. I only watched about half of it. We'll see. Yeah, Paul Bigley was talking about it, said when they got infected, the president, all of them said, somebody said something about like one person, but they were outdoors. Man, that sounds like there's something weird. Warmed up some though. Look at him over there snoring. Catch it. Oh. Catch that?
I don't know, it's pretty far off.
Wait. Watch him.
He's moving back.
Yeah, he's soaring over there. Cool.
There's a lot of cars over here today.
Fishing.
Bring a lighter.
Still catch and release, is it? What's the sign say? And the split CV joint boots, actually I think originated out of, what did it say, Italy, I think? Did I say Italy? What I said yesterday? Yeah, I've manufactured. There's two different kinds. Let's go.
I'll get out.
Spiderway, that's a big one. It's kind of strange. Went out this morning when we got worked on the car, the hood of the car. Some insects that were dead, even some flies. It's kind of, I don't think it got that cool last night, really. Yeah, I know it didn't get down to freezing or anything like that. It's kind of strange.
Ran into a stink bug.
Well, you're talking about the ones that were moving around earlier today. I'm talking about the ones that were dead on top of the cars this morning. When it still had dew on there. That's what kind of was weird. It's strange. Very strange. You know what they say, eyes open. We're getting closer to getting what it is done. We're rocking again.
Cool.
See, they don't know what happened yesterday because we didn't get to post it because we had a technical difficulty. We passed them yesterday when we was here, and they were playing their music, carried their music. We were talking about most of the time when we pass here, usually they're on bicycles, either got earbuds or have something strapped to their arm or something, playing a little bit. Interesting. Beautiful day though. Catch the sun real quick. Cool. Yeah, I think anybody could probably put one of those split boots on, but like I say, you want to kind of look through the videos a few times and make definitely sure you understand how it all goes, especially with the glue. Make sure you can get it attached properly beforehand.
On a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being very difficult, what would you give it?
I would say for somebody that didn't have no mechanical ability, I would rate it at an 8. At all. I mean, you're talking about an 8 at least, difficulty-wise. Because the thing of it is, if they're not knowledgeable in anything, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. Like there's some tricks to it too, guys. If like this basically the shaft on the CV joint, basically the main shaft that goes between the two joints. If you put that boot on in between and then glue it, first you want to glue one side, of course. If that's the kind, there's two different styles. There's one that's actually just split on one side. That was that one I think came from Italy. And the other one here, like most of the parts stores have, is actually split in two complete. So you glue one side, you let it harden for, like I said, I gave it about 5 to 8 minutes is what I did, just to make sure it was cured and hardened good. And then I put it on that shaft. You don't want to make sure you don't get it by any grease. You want to make sure you already got everything cleaned up. You can use cleaning spray. I mostly on anything on the cars and most things. I mean, gasoline can eat stuff up. Alcohol, rubbing alcohol on certain things can, but most of the time you can use rubbing alcohol and clean things up, and it's not going to cost a lot, especially on metal or anything, getting grease or anything off. So that's an easy way to do it. But getting up in there, just having patience to do it. Like I say, what I was doing on the car, there was not very much room at all underneath there to get in there. So, but somebody that would try to put it on over there where the drum was before, that would be a nightmare. I mean, I couldn't even probably done it. I mean, I was going on like, oh, well, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put it on here. I'm going to slide it over. I'm going to do it this way so it'll function, so it'll work right. And then put the clamps on and clamp it down. So, definitely, like I say, manufacturers have their deals posted online. You can go back and look and watch them do it. But they're on a table. They're not, you know, they don't really have it on a lift, and most people don't have lifts at their house, so you're going to lift the car up, and you're going to be on your back, you know, halfway upside down. So when they show this and gluing it, they're gluing it, you know, on a table, you know, presenting it. It's a little bit different than if you're underneath it. So, but it's doable, like I say. I mean, you know, and if you don't have a problem with the joints, I mean, that's the whole key. I mean, it saves a lot of time, a lot of money too, because the alternative is a lot worse. Got to drop that tie rod in, undo the strut, maybe even have to undo the lower part of the joint, ball joint part, the A-arm pins. Some of them have to disconnect not disconnect completely, but the brake lines, maybe say a hold down, maybe a guide is guiding the brake line up there. Some of them have to do that. Then you got to be able to pop that out if everything goes okay. I watched one guy on YouTube that he went to pop his out, and he'd been driving it. His joint was bad. And he went to pull it out, and the joint was probably almost pulled it out from the joint itself. You couldn't almost get it out of the tranny. So, but if you got a bar, they make pry bars kind of in between, like for transmissions, to pop them out. You can have that. You can use a fork. Some of them you can use a fork like you use for outer inner tie rod ends, where you pop them out. And then of course they have presses too for the outer tie rod ends if you want to be real delicate with them, if you're going to reuse them. So it's just something to be aware of. Somebody come up with a pretty good idea though. I'm going to say it's a lot better than having to take all that apart and put the whole thing in. If you have to replace the whole thing, probably the best video, like I said, we're not affiliated with any YouTube channels, but that's Scotty Kilmer. Check his out. He's got, I think, only his. I mean, some of these guys go into great detail. They take 15, 20 minutes. He did it in 4 minutes. And I mean, that's what it should, you know, I mean, you know, just basic stuff. Some guys make it really too hard. They take off too many things. Sometimes you do have to take off other things. Sometimes things are in the way, but I mean, a lot of times you don't. If you take out the right bolts and screws, you know which ones to take out. You can get it done pretty quick. One of the other boots too, by some other manufacturer, also, I think you glue it too, but it's also got screws that hold it together. Like about 5 or 8 screws, little screws. So I don't know what manufacturer that one was. But there's some different styles out there. I will say those Mobil 1 oil filters, I did an oil change while I was at it. Those things are good filters. You are going to pay a little bit more. I think they're supposed to last like 8 or 9 times as long in filtering. They do a good job. AC Delco. I used to, on my GM cars, used to use AC Delco all the time, but I found out something. This was a while back. I mean, I was still using AC Delco, but I was either getting it at the regular Chevrolet place. I think we had to go like AutoZone or Advance or one of the two. I can't remember which one it was. Because Walmarts are different. You might say AC Delco, but there's a big deal about that, about the oil not getting right through. Some of them had the valves, or the valves, bypass valves on them weren't working properly. Yeah, this is a while back, but not good. Interesting though. Very interesting. That breeze really feels good, doesn't it?
Yep.
Almost no humidity today, guys. What time is it anyway?
317.
3:17. Well, anyway, guys, have a good one.